Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Didn't recognize you.
It has been a while. How
It
are
is
you, Christy?
that is very, very true. It's been a very, very long time.
How long has it been? 4 years, I think, isn't or more? Has to be
Oh.
more.
Hold on. I'll have my maths straight. I've been back in Ireland almost a year, and then I'll say
No,
I'll say about two. It was I left SBG 2018 August.
oh right. You know, I was thinking about image fitness. The
Image
thing that we
fitness, yeah, image fitness. I actually got a notification today that I did my exams exactly today, 5 years ago.
I saw. Did you post that on your Insta?
I
Did you? I
haven't. I'm
saw
gonna
that. I
do it.
saw that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that was no 5 years. No, so 5 years ago I started, but then you know it's only like 17 weeks, but then it's officially
Mm.
over. So it was just weird. I was just like, oh my god, 5 years ago I didn't think well anyone would think of anything really. But yeah, it's been oh so.
Yeah, no, I am very tired. I just came back from training, and when you texted me a few minutes ago, I was like, I need to get everything ready. I have my cup of
I'm like,
coffee and all here.
I was like, come on, time is running.
It's not even 5 o'clock yet.
I know. No, thing is, my other one actually we started earlier. We had a window, and I just said, if you can't, because I don't like just wasting kind of time. You know what I mean? Especially
I
like
get you.
time. So I was just like, I'll just text him because I have another call at 6. So
Okay, fair.
like, I'd rather give you extra time because I know how much this means to
Oh,
you.
thank
You
you.
know, so,
But here, I actually want to say, I know I never got a chance, but I actually want to say thank you to you because you're the first one that after I did my exam and one of the because I remember in image fitness we had this
yes,
uh
connection kind of
where
open day that when
yeah.
yeah.
So there was Fly Fit, there was Ben Dunn, SBG, and I just saw you and me and some of the lads
I
went
just
straight towards
hypnotized
SBG.
you.
Yeah. So and then since then you invite me to SBG, and I got to work with what's his name,
The
Lucas.
transition coaches, yeah.
Yeah, those ones. Yeah, and I spent about 2 weeks over there, and then you showed me everything around the place and everything. So you one of the first fitness instructors that I've met, and like I'm happy to where I am now.
Yeah.
Obviously there's more to come, but I just want to say thank you for everything since
No,
day
like that's
one.
what I'm here about. That's what I love about it because like I like a lot of people find their niche and they're happy, but I've noticed I'm that middle point, man, woman, whatever you want to put in the content. And like when people come back to me 5, 10 years later and they're like, it's because of you, I didn't give up, I didn't whatever,
Mm,
whatever. So for me that shows me that's my purpose in life, you know what I mean? Like so if I can change people with a smile, a cheesy quote, anything, my resources or tools that I may have. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the thing I feel like, if anything, the last year has taught anyone is, there's no point on holding it because at some point
mm,
you just gotta let go. And that's the one thing I have been doing. I was always holding on to emotions, feelings, memories. But now I'm just like, if you strip everything away from me, I'm like, I'm still me. Like a very good thing I was listening to was Grant Candone's performer, Howler talk,
mm,
we call it. And he's like, look at him, he's my inspiration. And he was like, people, they think these things, objects, whether it be clothes, whatever, cars,
mm,
that identify them. But
mm.
I think in the last year, everyone that everyone's very like masculine. Oh, we have to do this and boom, 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 boom. But then they realized the last year and many more years to come, we need to reset and think what actually matters to us if I don't have X, Y, Z. Like I came back, I had nothing to my name, nothing.
Really? Okay.
Now when you reach out to me like that, and I'm just like, wow, that person actually I made a difference. But yeah, I have nothing now. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, this year alone, like if anything, like if you have to take something, and I thought, like what am I gonna do? But now looking back, I'm like, I'm doing pretty okay. So yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Well, you've done a lot. Because I've been keeping I watch you on Insta.
Keeping
You've
tabs on
traveled.
me.
Say nothing. But no, but seriously, you've been travel all over the place. You've been to Argentina. You've been to Brazil. Just everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Because I remember the first time when I saw you, and still talking to you now. I can see you a bit the same person, like as in obviously mentally you're in a different place, but like in terms of energy wise, you still
Oh yeah.
still have that energy. So how do you make sure like that energy that you have stays with you, whether it's spiritually or mentally? Where does that energy come from?
Do you want the short answer, or do we have 24 hours?
It's it's up to you. It's up to you.
um,
That's why I
I
started the
have,
podcast
yeah,
early.
I love, like since I was a young girl, I was very open, and
Mm-hmm.
to be honest, this answer has different factors, like a lot of,
Okay.
like a little bit of everything. So one, since I was a little girl, I'll never forget these words. Like, I'm 26 now, and I was 6 actually. That was 20 years ago. I told my mom, I was like, I will be your doctor, and I'm gonna fix everybody. And my mom's like, why? I was like, I'm gonna be that person where I can give them a home and I look after their health. Now, bear in mind, I feel like when children, like, we don't really look at children like, oh sure, they're seeing ghosts, or they have invisible friends, whatever, you know what I mean. So I was that kid. I would talk to trees. And now with this year I had looked back on it and I'm like, hold on a second. So my upbringing was hard, and I'm not going to have any pity again, but it was struggle. So from everything from that, the thing is, people think humble, and I don't really like that word, because they're like, oh, you have to get humble and
Okay.
always go back and remain that. I was like, no, stay consistent. Like, just, I don't know, like in a way of humble, I don't like people say, because people can have an ego when it comes to humble, if that makes sense. They kind of,
Mm.
well, I didn't have this and look what I have now. And I'm not going to name anyone, but you can think of wherever you can. But I feel like people are forgetting the actual meaning of it. So for me, when I never had the splash of cash, or I wasn't born with a silver spoon. I literally, if I wanted a pair of bottoms or a pair of runners or whatever it may be, I had to work myself. I didn't get pocket money and like that. And all of my friends were a lot older, working, and I started working as well. But when I looked at them, I used to always say, how can I get that multiply or get more,
Mm.
And I always had a role model to look up to. And then obviously you make mistakes, whatever. But yeah, so trying to sum it up, the reason why I stayed like this is because I've been, like, I know people say it, but I honestly, if you want to see rock bottom, I can tell you that, and you think of all the bad things that come with that, but when you hit rock bottom, but something inside you, like, gotten to very spiritual since the last year, since being coming back, and you realize it's like the reason why you've been that is because you need to realize that every good comes with a bad, every bad comes with good. That's just the way the world has been designed.
Mm.
Whatever we believe in, the source, God, Muhammad, whatever. I'm not going to be,
Mm.
that's what I loved about what I've been doing before I came back, because I was very like, oh, I don't believe in anything. Oh, religion is the biggest problem, everything. So trying not to get sidetracked why I'm like this. I think it's just what I've seen and realize, and I've seen, like, Slumdog Millionaire. I've seen the slums. I lived in a slum, and I'm doing that. So I always look back of what my life could have been and where I am now, but I know this is only temporarily, and focus where I will be, but not having too much attachment to it. That's the thing I've learned is ego is good. Don't get me wrong. Ego, it protects us against hot, against cold, driving or whatever.
Mm.
But it comes to the point that people don't realize it. They're like, oh, I am being an egoistic person. There's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of factors, and I feel like that's a masculine energy, and I feel like the world is shifting now to more like a feminine energy, which another topic a lot of people disagree with me with. But a lot of things I've noticed, I'm like, oh yeah, like the whole thing, manifestation and law of attraction, whatever. Again, it's another topic altogether. But to be honest, I've always kept myself busy, whether it be listening over and over the exact same people, and I just never stop really, because I feel like I love looking back on my mom's life. Like, she didn't have what we had now. Like, me and my sister now are both on our laptops doing work or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, she, oh my God, I never thought I'll have 2 kids in Ireland and they're literally glued to the computer because this is our life now, unfortunately. But then I like to take away and remember the humanity side of things. So I feel like connecting with myself, and I never thought I'd actually have conversations with myself. I'm like, okay, Kristina, what have you done today that's going to proceed you where you want to be in the future? So there's a lot of things that I do, but again, it didn't happen overnight. You know, it's just layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. And then I was always, obviously from SVG, I was always around very dynamic kind of people, and I was very creative, but I was very suppressed from being creative, and that's why I kind of departed my journey there and moved on to other things. And yeah, I just, you know, everyone's designed not to just do the one thing in their life, in my opinion. You know?
Okay, right.
I feel people that do the one thing in their entire life, they suppress what they're actually are designed to do. I feel like every single person on this life, man or woman, or, you know, whatever your gender you want to, you know, have to be careful of say that with now. I feel they have a purpose, a mission to fulfill, a soul accomplishment, and something to leave then for the next life to take over. You know what I mean?
I just coming back to a few moments when you were talking about ego there, and you were saying ego is a good thing. That's one thing that I've always had a battle against with, is I always ask myself, am I driving with ego or am I driving with self-confidence? Because a lot of time,
it's a fine line between ego and confidence.
And funny enough, I had a very interesting conversation with one of my mate a few days ago, and he was like, are you running away from something, or are you heading towards something? So as you said, you like to keep yourself busy. So am I like to keep myself busy and productive as well. But that question is always in my mind when he asked me that, am I running away from something, or am I driving towards something? Do you know what I mean? Like, do I not accept myself who I am, or do I aim for self-development? So what's your take on this?
I'm going to say my experience and then take from there, because people say, like, when obviously from SPG, when I go there, like, I literally talk to everyone. I go out, work out for 2 hours, I end up there 6 hours, because people say, all you do is talk. I was like, look, I know my mission, my purpose, because before I used to be like, oh no, I'm too good for them, or no, I'm not going to talk to them, you know, like, who are they and who am I? Everyone in their life at some point realizes that what they're doing isn't getting them where they wanted. I feel like there's I'm going to give a good example of Homer Simpson, because I love Simpsons.
Go on.
Right, that's because I'm dorky, and, you know, I love my Star Wars and Avengers and Batwoman and everything.
We can talk about Avengers all day if you want.
Haven't seen the last Wonder Woman, so I still need to watch that. But there's always, you know, this topic. I researched so much ego. Ego is, it's this. I don't know where to start. But anyways, I'm gonna make it as basic as I can. You know, when you go in this rabbit hole,
I get you.
Where did I even start from?
I know your brain is going 100 miles an hour. I know what you mean.
Well, I give a good example of an angel and a devil. However,
okay.
If you know, a devil was once an angel as well. Whether you believe it or not, I'm just giving you an analogy, okay? So it's like, for us to survive as humans, like, this goes back way back. Ego was formed it blocked, like, how we think, how we feel from the bottom, but it's more like the mind. But sometimes, have you ever noticed people just let things happen, and they're like, how is she making things happen without actually thinking about it? So the thing with the mind, and if you want to call it an aura, there's a constant battle, because it's been infused of what we see, that we think we're perceiving, we think that's the way our life should be. When I start working at SPG, where you came here, where we met, I'll never forget the first words. The two people I was very close with working, and they said, this is an egoistic gym. Get used to it. Obviously, I'm not going to name names, but the big names. And I'm like, yeah, it'll be fine. And when things really hit the fan, that's when it tests me, because I suppose I was dealing with ego people, but I didn't have an ego because of my upbringing.
Okay.
However, you can change all around. You could be good and you can change being egoistic. But because I've seen how egoistic people learn or react or do or whatever you want to say, I never, ever, ever want to be like that. But you may say it, but it doesn't mean you don't act it. Like, for example, yesterday, me and Matt went on a drive, and I haven't driven like almost 2 years. And she says, you are a different person when you're home working than when you're on a drive. When you're on a drive, you're just like, you're flying, you know, you're just like, you know, that cool one hand, and you're just like gearbox and everything. When you're home, you're like boom, 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 you know, you're very like, come on, like, again, it's just the balance. Again, coming back to what you were saying about ego, when you say, do, speak, analyze, observe, speak out, think, is it this me or is this the second person saying, you know what I mean? Like, I know it's hard, it takes practice, but this is where meditation comes in, inner work, shadow work, alignment, past regression, because again, the ego may come from many, many lifetimes ago, and it's just, you are here to demolish or finish it. And this is where a lot of things now in life are like, because you have ego, more or less masculine, and you have the feminine, which is like intuitive, and it kind of, they're like trying to like kill each other, you know what I mean? But it's like I always said, and I say things and I look back and I'm like, without even realizing or doing it, love conquers all, and love does not have ego in it. Love is just there. It's infinite, abundant, it's unconditional. You probably see my post, I also say unconditional love. People say, how can you love someone? It's like, no. It's not about like that kind of love. It's like, I respect you as a human being. And, you know, again, sometimes people love for that person egoistically because they're rich, handsome, famous, 20,000 likes in their pictures and stuff like that. So to really answer that, really look back on yourself and think, am I being confident, inspiring, like you reached out to me, or am I being, you notice the kind of trait of friends you have, which I have as well. I had to get rid of people on Instagram or Facebook because it was all flashy material, things that they can hold, see, you know, touch. On ego is things that it's quite opposite. It's like, okay, if I was to take away my car, will I still be me? If I take away my fancy Ray-Bans, if I take away my watch, stuff like that, like literally sit down. And I was like that too. I freaked out when I came back and I didn't have my car. Like, I think I had one of those, you know, when you drink, you become an alcoholic, and then you don't, and you've gone to a rehab. That's how I felt without my car, you know. But then I realized, I was like, is my car actually important to me? Does it define me? You know, and then you go from that as well. So I always think ego, materialistic, non-ego. Oh, sorry, ego, materialistic, non-ego, non-materialistic. So that's the kind of things. Now, people could define it differently, but that's, from me, that's how I understood it, and start understanding it and realizing it to me. Now, again, other people can have different experiences of it, you know. So hopefully, I never give a very straightforward answer. I like to make it very broad, and, you know, because it's still a light worker's job to kind of, because we have a lot of people to talk about. So that's why I like to go a little bit more knowledge of it, because it's not a one-word answer.
Right, yeah.
This non-ego isn't, you know what I mean? So this is why I feel like I'm so passionate about it too.
But when you take that ego out, for someone to be very self-aware, to take away that ego, and now they have to build that self-love. How would you go about building that self-love to really accept who you are and be happy with yourself? What kind of stuff they can do to really be happy within themselves?
Think of a child. When you were a child, what did you need? If you can remember that far, if you can have memories. Like, obviously, the older we get, the less memories. We only remember the trauma, which is another topic I could go into. But what did he need? Did he need a car?
Do you want me to answer that? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Does a child need a car?
Say that again?
Obviously in 2021, there's kids with iPhones, but I'm just being over, you know, overall, you know what I mean? Like when you were growing up, did you have an iPhone?
No.
Did you have an Xbox?
Wait, when I was a child?
Like I'm talking 4 or 5.
4 or 5? No, I didn't have nothing.
Exactly. Did you have a car? Obviously you don't. What did you have? You had 2 loving parents, I presume?
I have my parents, I had my family, and
Even
the
if you
only
don't, that's okay, because I know there's a lot of people that will grow up from foster care and then they still.
I spent my time playing PlayStation and growing up, so that's my pastime. Yeah.
Okay, but still, you were doing something you were enjoying, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You played outside, you got yourself monkey, you know, all that. Why can't you do the same especially now when we have nothing else to do? Get out, start drawing, do Sudokus. I don't know. What were you when you were a child that maybe you wanted to learn a language you never got a chance to do? Like it's just in the tip of your fingers. Before when I was learning a language when I came to this country, I had to like literally do textbooks. Now it's just like click YouTube and you just listen and learn, you know? So I always loved astrology, but I never got into it, you know?
Okay.
And when I did, I'm like, everything just started making sense. My mom was even saying to me, are you a medium or something? I'm a bit worried. The things that comes out your mouth, you're like predicting. I said to my mom in 2021, once it hit New Year's, like, Mom, we're going to go to a new home this year. We're in the process of doing it right now. She's like, freaky. I'm like, you know what I mean? But again, it's because I'm clear my conscience from all the egoistic thing. I'm attracting everything. That's what people with egos, they only attract short-term things and then they say, why I'm not successful. But I say, think as a child, what you needed really, absolutely nothing. What you do have is yourself. So that's where ego, like you can attract anything you want once you don't have that massive ego. I'm not saying you still need a bit of ego. Don't get me wrong. We need some as a survival mechanism to a degree. But I feel like that's why there's so much chaos in the world right now, because egos are literally taking over the world. And I've noticed that before, if I was posted, it was my body, my beaches, what you've seen, yeah? But I attracted the wrong kind of people into my life that just wanted the Barbie lifestyle or the fab life or whatever. But no one actually wanted me as a person, as Kristina, of this universe, of this world, as a human being, as a soul, never. And I always said to myself, I honestly, for many years, I blame myself for it, you know. But again, I start clearing my ego and I start attracting my vibe, and that's where it comes from. You attract your vibe of how you're vibing, you know. And that's
so would you say that was a good move on your behalf to blame yourself?
what's being blamed.
Not blame. So as you said, you kind of blame yourself for
Yeah, but
stuff.
that's normal. But again, it comes from ego. It comes from your chakras. Your self-worth, how you're brought up. Obviously, there was a big trauma experience in my life. So again, that all has impacted. When something bad happens in our life, our ego is there to protect ourselves. Whether it be showing our true emotions, our true how we feel, how we say. You know, like when you're a kid, they say boys are not supposed to cry. Girls are not supposed to do this, you know. I disagree with that. When a man suppresses emotions, it could have a long-term effect in the future. And I've seen it. And I'm like, oh, shit. You know, like, so, and especially for girls as well, you know, girls, you know, they should be vulnerable and all that. Yes, they should, to a degree. You can't be overly, because, you know, there's a fine line between being overly dramatic and then, you know, being a bloody man, you know. So I would consider myself, I remember one, actually, I think you would know, I don't know, no. Yeah. But you don't, anyways, a person did tell me, I would like come to him, like, it was like my therapy session. It didn't turn, we just came out for a drink, but turned into a therapy session. But he would like guide me to where I am now. And I'll never forget these words. He always says, you're very male dominated. Like you like to, what's exactly the word? Jesus. You over masculinate the men. And that's why, so basically, because I didn't have that father figure, and people say daddy issues or father issues, I find it very rude and disgusting. It's, yes, maybe I don't have that much, but doesn't mean I'm not going to regain the power back of having the balance of a man. You know what I mean? So because I didn't have it, I was always trying to be the alpha, trying to be the man. But people don't realize some people are just like that regardless. Like when I was a kid, I used to tell my best friends, you're a bad dancer, a bad singer, I should be in the front of the stage.
So that was just you. You weren't trying to blend in or act that way. That was just who you were.
And at times, don't get me wrong, just to figure it out. But then I've realized as you get older, you know, your circle of friends, people think I have friends left, right and center. Yeah, I call them acquaintances. I won't say exactly friends. Friends who actually see me cry, who see me at midnight, you know, stressing out, tantrums. Those are my friends, you know what I mean? Like, yes, I'll be civil and I respect you if you ever need, you know, I'm one of those people, I'll give you my limb if I have to, if I could, if that's possible, do you know what I mean? So I feel that the whole thing with the fans, that people really need to like stop. But again, going back to ego again, people really need to stop saying, oh, you have mommy issues, your daddy issues. Yeah, so what? But it brings them to who they are. Maybe they need to figure it out with you or without you. You know what I mean? And I just find it so rude people say that, because unfortunately it's more and more common now. And unfortunately people have to figure it out somehow psychologically and on a much deeper level how to get out of that loophole, you know?
And also,
like, it's when you see the repeating pattern, there's like
exactly, the patterns, yeah.
I'm a true believer of the universe. Like, if this month, well, January alone, it was just like, I stood out in my balcony. I was like, I looked up in the sky because I love, you know, the stars and moons and everything. And people can call me wacky hippo. I don't care, because they don't know what I've seen.
They don't know. Absolutely. People are too quick to judge you.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So I literally stand there and I'll be like, thanks, universe. However, why? But then I'm like, oh, now I get, you know, it's like, I kind of...
Yeah, it's funny when it clicks. It's funny when it clicks and you're like, oh, that's what, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if you had those moments where you're like, it just
like,
clicks.
The universe talks to us. We're like going back how even the world is made. You know, we're all atoms, really, and vibration. So if you like, people say, where the hell do you get it all? I'm like, I cleanse myself every single day, whatever, you know, which is another topic altogether, but it's just a part of your routine, you know. Like, I never did it. I honestly, I put my hands on my chest. I never thought in a million years I'll be where I am right now of what I'm doing. If the way you met me, fast forward me now, I would laugh at myself. But now I'm experienced, I'm feeling, I'm understanding, like almost forced telling the future what, you know, it's kind of like, because I've experienced it so much, it's now really just helping other people to realize that time and time again, you know what I mean? And most importantly, when things, the universe is always testing us, whether you like it or not, whether you're ready or not. When the universe knows you're ready or not ready, they just go pew, 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 pew. I feel like, you know, like just they're throwing things at you, and they're gonna say, okay, if she wants this so bad, let's really test her. Let's see, or her. I'm talking me, my instance, you know. And looking back, I'm like, now makes sense why that person left my life, why that person came in, and you know what I mean. Like, a lot of people, when they have a lot of time on their hands, they start thinking negative. That's no. Start thinking, why didn't it plan out that way? Why it did plan this way? You know what I mean? So rather than go, you know, kind of go, woo. And it's easier said than done. And that's why I love just reaching out to people, not, you know, just giving that little word. And it's when you ask them questions, those people, then they're like, oh. And if I had a person just there, he just wasn't getting it. Like, bear in mind, his marriage is on the links and everything, and he's the age of my father, but he was coming for me help, and I told him, I was like, darling, I love you like my own father. I'll do anything for you. But everything I'm saying and doing, you're being a spoiled brat and being an egoistic man, and you really need to cop onto yourself, because I am telling you everything to do and you're not doing it. It doesn't happen by just sitting there and wishing it'll happen. You know, that's what they say, forget about the past. Don't focus on the present, but don't go into the future. You know, let that sink in. Don't go into the past. Don't be in the present, but don't focus on the future. Just be. You know, like I always say, be in the now. Yeah, but you just need to be. That's where we're human beings. You know, and this is why it's great to have those aspects, but remember, we can't control any of it to a degree. Well, if it doesn't work out, if you're going to be attached to the outcome, doesn't what happens? Ego kicks in again, you know? And I the blame. Up until November of last year, I used to thought that way. It's only when things happen again and again and again and again, I'm like, okay, I think the universe is making it really loud and clear that I'm doing something not right. And that's okay. Accepting that you're not doing something right is the best acceptance you could do to yourself. And don't blame yourself. Because when you start blaming, that's what the ego wants you to do. The little, you know, the, what you call it, the monkey? You know, keeps clapping.
Yeah.
That's what it's like, you know? That's what it's there for.
I hit you nail in the coffin when you say people blame themselves. It's some I'll be the first one to put my hand up. I blame myself for loads of stuff, and the thing is, we kind of feel kind of stuck in the mud, as in we feel like we've no help. We got nothing left. What advice would you give people in that kind of situation?
Again, I always refer to myself because, again, I'm just talking myself on, because I wouldn't say do this. I'm just talking from my experience, and again, resonate or relate or not, you know, I'm not, you know, a professor or whatever, which I don't expect anyone to be. You know, I feel like, you know, everyone in their own life is a teacher of themselves. So when I was 15, well, in my teenage years, I always said, right, by mid-20s, I want my own house, and by my 30s, I want this and this, that, and the other. You have to realize I'm 26 now. Okay, I may not have all those things, but what do I do have? Well, I'm not blaming myself. That's for sure. You know, it took me almost maybe 26 years to understand how to do that. But whoever's going to be watching or seeing or hearing this, it doesn't matter how old you are when you do realize. The thing is, how are you going to react to the actions or whatever that happened? The thing is, the number one thing of anything that happens to us, physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever it is, number one thing, and I'm still mastering this, don't get me wrong, I'm not a pro, I'm not this genie, you know, is how you react to everything. Absolutely everything. And that's what's going to really make a difference between blaming, going further in life, you know. And it's repetition. It could be right, it could be wrong. You don't know. But what you do need to know is to listen to yourself and then realize that it's distinguished. Sometimes I think, okay, is this my ego? I swear, I was like, is this my ego talking? I don't think so, because if my ego talking, my ego wouldn't be talking really to me. The ego would just do. Ego is a doer, you know?
Ego is a doer. I like that, yeah.
Doer, yeah, it's 100%, it's a doer, which is great. Again, it gives us the kick in the ass, and, you know, like, it got me to where I need to be. But sometimes, you know, the universe, I'm a big believer. The day you're born is when everything's as aligned for you, whether you like it or not. And it's your mission to find that out. And if you don't, well, then your next life will. Because I love Hercules, and obviously when he was born and the whole stars and everything, like, I love.
Are you talking about the Hercules, the old one?
Yeah.
I love that one as well, yeah.
You know, I know it's silly, but there's a reason for all these little movies that are being made, and, you know, where people are getting ideas, and astronomy, physics, like, especially now this year more now, we're going to invent Mars, and you kind of think to yourself, okay, all these planets, you know, why are they being mentioned now? And you feel here feminine energy, masculine energy, like we're never really told this when we were doing our fitness health education, and it is a part of ourselves, you know what I mean?
It is big thing, yeah.
We were learned how to squat, how to bench, again, doer. But how do the mental side of things? They mentioned, oh yeah, be careful, you're going to meet a lot of people that are going to drain your energy because of their mental side of things. What we do is 5% of the 95. So we only have the 5%, if even. The other 95% is the inner work that not one personal trainer that mean you are qualified could do, you know? You are your own personal trainer. You are your own, you know, host of your own body. We are, another famous line I like saying, we are a soul and a spirit experiencing a human body. That's all we are, you know.
True, yeah.
That's all we ever will be, unfortunately. And that's why I go back to the whole thing, you know, when you're so ego, why would it matter? You know, it's just like, if you like, your personality sucks, well, again, personality is an ego. Yeah. It's how you are as a soul and being, and what your values are. The values is your spiritual side of things, your soul. Your personality is your ego. And that's what you say, I remember you. Again, it's my ego, because I'm very, I'm like the lion, the tiger, you know, I like to always be center of attention.
I wouldn't say, I don't know, I wouldn't say it was your ego, because I don't know, I just get the same energy that I got from you years ago, and I'm so,
see what I mean? Energy, you see what I mean? Again, but again, a little bit is good of my ego, because
But that's who you are. That you can't blame who you are based.
But again, I could change again in 10 years' time, but I doubt that, to be honest. I just, for me, when you reached out to me and when you're saying, and now, you know, I don't get like an ego. People say, oh, you've changed, have you helped me? I get a boost of energy even more. Do you ever notice, right? I'm not going to go too political or too, you know, because, you know, I don't want you to have a bad
I get you. Nah, you're fine. Go on.
So I'm just saying, let's say a very famous person, whatever he or she may be. Have you ever noticed the more hate you give to that person, the more famous they're getting?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Why? And I always think subconscious, unconscious, conscience, you know, all this, it doesn't matter. It's so important not to give your energy, your thought, or your intention to something that it doesn't serve you, because that person is actually, it's like a give, a take, except you're giving rather than taking it back. You know? I've realized this back in about October, November. I've realized this because, again, I'm a giver and I don't receive. It's like, you know, I run a car, there's little fuel and I'm trying to run on the little fuel. You know, I'm being very cautious now. Not because I'm like, oh no, he or she doesn't deserve it. But again, I need to replenish what I've used, because there's only so much you can give as well. You know?
Oh, shit. Yeah.
You know, like that's why people can fall into depression without, you always see it as like people are the happiest people, but then back home depressed because they're a giver, but they don't receive.
So what way do you think, is there any, like, what other ways that people can receive or can fill up their gas tank, if you want to say that way?
There's not really an answer for that. Just be mindful, let's say, of that energy vampires, that you don't even know it, and they could be just sucking it all up to, you know, make themselves better. So I would say I've noticed that a few people, and I just stop contacting them. And if they reach out, they reach out. If they don't, it's like, look, I just feel like, you know, unfortunately, we've just gone our separate ways or whatever, like, you know, and that's okay, because no one's going to really look after you. No matter what they say, no one's going to look after you except you. And sometimes that could be with your loved ones, you know, like my own family. I had to, I was like, I'm sorry, but it's not like I hate you or I don't like you. I just feel like who I am as a person, you can't reach that, and I respect you and everything, but I just don't think if we're any good to each other, you know, and that's okay, and that's fine. That's just the way of life. I've just reached a newer, higher conscious awareness that is too hard for you to understand, and that's fine. I hope I see you in the next life, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Something like that. Yeah. That's a very mature.
I'm just giving an example. You know, like what my people, they've said, oh, I haven't seen you. And I was like, yeah, I'm just doing my own thing. You know, I've just realized I'm a different person, and yeah, I am still me, but I'm very picky and choosy of if the people have the same values as me, not personalities, value as me. Yeah.
And how can you tell that? How can you tell if someone have the same value as you?
You exchange, you talk, just like me and yourself. Obviously, if, for example, there's a good one. The last couple of weeks, I'll be thinking of someone and they text me. It's like,
just like that.
And they're like, and me say, oh yeah, I was just about to say that. Oh yeah, me too. You know. So that's why I said, once you clear that fogginess in your mind, it could take some people weeks, days, months, years, decades. You know, not centuries, because I'd be counting in more than centuries, but it can get passed on of reincarnation to people. So whoever I was in past life tapped into that. I know I need to finish something off in this life, so then it gets passed on, good and bad. Don't get me wrong.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I mean? Again, go back, obviously, if you believe in Adam and Eve, first made the man could be on his own, so he created a woman. You know what I mean? But again, he gave the woman, not feminine, he gave both feminine and masculine energy. The masculine energy came from hell, if you want to put it that way. But again, we all needed it, because we couldn't, if we just had feminine energy, all we would just be like, we would have not adopted this. We would have not had cups of drinks of coffee, you know what I mean? So to a degree, masculine energy is good, but too much of it, we destroy our own world. our own beings, you know what I mean?
Mm.
This is why the battle has like, the world is a reset button now, because it's like, stop, before the world gets a bit too crazy, you know, like, let's do something about it. You know, that's not what we're here for. We're here to make something out of it, not destroy it so that it goes and that's it, you know, like a supernova. You know, yes, it was made to a supernova, but you can't lead life as a supernova. So I'm a true believer that every single 7 billion people on this earth has a mission. It could be good or bad, or just to live and survive, but there is something in that, you know.
But do you think that changed over time as well, though?
What do you mean?
So, for example, as like I didn't know that I would be doing podcasts 3 years ago. I didn't know I would get into fitness. Maybe, as you said, your personality changed over time as well. Like, who knows who we're gonna be in the next couple of years. I may not be the person who I am personality wise. I'll be doing something else.
Well, your past life, you could have been, I don't know, let's say Albert Einstein. I'm just giving an example. Yeah, I don't know why. I'm just a big fan of him as well. I'm a big dorky geek when it comes to a work of art. Or Thomas Edison, the light bulb. You could have reincarnated from him, of his ideas and technology. Again, he didn't become at 15 years of age. He had to work at it, understand. He probably never, that's the thing I hate about people. They say the success, but they've never actually talked the storyline too. And that's what I've gotten into a lot lately. And a lot of people, they listen to Will, okay, I'm not going to say anything bad, but Will Smith, let's say, for example, very active on this, but no one actually shows his background. Like The Rock, for example. People showed who he actually was before he came The Rock. And that's what people should really start understanding, and not just, you know, wake up in the morning and listen to a podcast and like, you can do it and you do this and you do that. It's great for a pump and whatever, but that can only last for maybe half an hour, two max, if you're on coffee or whatever, you know what I mean? But you really understand, it's like, does this person resonate the way I was brought up? Or does it resonate with his success or her success, whatever it may be? So going back to what you said about you didn't know, something passed in your life that maybe didn't get a chance because of technology, because it wasn't advanced, but now you've done it because you had that time in your life to do it with the resources, you know?
But the thing is, I want to ask you next, with everything that's happening last year with the COVID and everything, how would you define 2020 for yourself? Like, as in awakening, and what kind of stuff did really stick out to you? You were talking about around October and November that you really, like, I'm not going to say discover, but you really, the light kind of switched on and you'd be like, I need to do this, I need to do that. And you kind of took a step back and look more within rather than chasing.
Okay. So again, I can't give him one answer. So back I came back from cruise ships mid-April. It was about Easter time. So by the time I got out of quarantine and all that 2 weeks, I was really like, it got me a lot of, obviously all I had was YouTube. That's really it. You know, I couldn't leave, I couldn't do anything, you know, so it was just YouTube galore. Got a lot of different information, talking to people from all the world, like that, getting in this, and, you know, kind of taking drips and drabs and what resonates with me. And obviously my biggest hope was, because I didn't finish a contract, it was to come back. But then I realized, okay, it's May, it's June, it's July, it's August. Okay, it's 4 months I'm home. It's already half through the year. It doesn't look like I'm gone anytime soon. So then I got a job, a normal 9-to-5 job, which I'm grateful for because it paid some of the stuff I had to get done. But then I worked for August, September, October, and then I had to let go because it only had a 3-month contract. Again, that's when it really hit me. All of my life, decade, I've always jumped from job to job to job. Again, serving someone else, but not myself. Then realizing, okay, I thought I needed 400 or 500 euros, you know, because I wanted whatever. Realize I don't really, because everything's closed. I've nowhere to go. I don't go out every weekend, something like that. So I start really like going into my money side of things, because obviously we need money to survive. So I'm not saying like you don't need money at all, you know, don't be egoistic. And at the end of the day, we do need that paper, you know, unfortunately from the trees, you know, to survive. But I really, when I was like, oh, I was destroyed and it was horrible. But then that time everything I've taught and learned, I went even deeper. And I literally went to the point that I cried. I really got all my emotions, like to the point I thought of stuff I couldn't even thought I would even remember, you know, when you really have that too much time. And then by the time December came, obviously a lot of people make their resolutions in the new year, but I like to make mine a little bit before to really put them down on paper. What I did, not blame, acknowledge them, accept them, not to repeat them, but you know, because that's no way of learning it. And write out again, not from egoistic, because all these years I've been working from an ego, not from my higher self. And certain people I follow help me through that. And when they say certain things that happen, I'm like, oh my God! Or whatever, not trying to be racist, you know. I was like, you know, when certain things people say, you're like, oh my God, it makes, you know.
It really takes you.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. I had a very good, I wasn't following just anybody. I had certain people, again, resonate of who you're following. If you just like because they look cool, they have lots of subscribers, whatever, again, if that's what you want, great. But for me, I can have someone that maybe has 2,000 followers, but they just, I'm like them. When they're posting, I'm in their post, you know? So then by Christmas time, again, I got another job. Well, I was supposed to start a new year, but then obviously we went into lockdown. And that's when it really hit. Yeah, Christine, that's it. The universe could not be screaming anymore into your world. You really need to start doing what you're doing, you know? So coming that, I'm working out on a project and on the world and going completely remote, but knowing that it's not forever. Obviously, I'm a very human person. Like, I cannot wait to give people proper hugs. I'm just a hugger and just like, you know. So, yeah, no matter what, yes, as far as technology may go, humanity should never die, because that's why it's a bit scary, because obviously robots are taking over the world, but humanity, like, love will always win and conquer the world, no matter what you say to me. And you'll realize that all these ego robots will just, you know, they don't really belong here as a purpose, in my opinion. You know,
I get you. So I have one last question for you.
Fire away.
What's one thing I always ask this to everyone that's been my podcast, always the big finale. What's one thing you wish for everyone in this world today?
Regain everything that you may have lost and put it into something that you can produce it out of.
Whoa, that just came out quick. Say it again, slowly.
So everything you've lost in the past,
yeah,
regain it back in any way and reproduce it. Well, I'll give you an example.
Ooh, I like that.
So a lot of people, like, my power was taken away from me. However, I want to empower people now in different ways. Not just, again, going through egoistic thing, you know? So that's the thing. My thing is power now. So regaining and powering the past, because that's what I want to have that power. Thor's hand or Thor's hammer. But now I am yes. But now I want to empower people, not just have the power, you know? So yeah, so whatever it may be. So just regain what you had in the past, but reproduce it in a way that now, you know, because we're living a very futuristic era. So we have to stop holding on to what we thought was safe or secure. That might take you a whole year to discover. It took me almost a year to discover. And I'm still thinking, okay, I still need a lot more to understand, you know? So again, I was very fortunate because I always had it within me. Some people are completely separate. Like, people say, how do you do it? I was like, when you like literally hit rock bottom, you have nothing else but yourself, thoughts and your mind and yourself. I mean, literally, I was isolation galore, and that's okay. You're gonna get freaked out. I did. I was like, what the fuck is this? I need people in my life. But when you become completely isolated, you start realizing, oh shit, I'm actually doing all right. You know, sorry if I'm cursing. I need to curse a little bit sometimes. They beep it all the time. So yeah, I know it's not really a word, but hopefully people can understand that whatever happened in the past, see, okay, I can still do it just from a different perspective. And this is what the challenge is about. Everything is done for our highest good. Will people see it or not, understand it or not, everything is done. People don't understand how little we actually are. And that the universe has a plan for all of us. You know, there's a very good book about it. I actually recommend reading it. It's a very good read. And the universe will always have you back. Matt, something. I'll give the link later.
Yeah.
But it's very good read. Like such a quick, but it just, no matter what stage of life you are, maybe a teenager or a grandmother, you know, it has a purpose for it. And that's, if anything, if all this podcast people skip through, whatever, always say to yourself, is this stuff, whatever maybe, does it give me purpose for today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year? And I would like to always finish with, if something that triggers or bother you, don't waste 5 minutes on it if it will not mean anything to you in 5 years' time.
Right, okay, I like that. Well, whatever you do on Instagram, I really enjoy the stuff that you're sharing on your story and everything. I love it. I have I follow loads of the people very similar to you, and I'm grateful to follow those people rather than, again, I'm not going to mention any names, but yeah. I rather follow people like you, and everything that you've said in this podcast, I'm really grateful to have you. And again, thank you so much for everything you've taught me since day one. I really appreciate it. And yeah,
hopefully here is done.
Hopefully we get to meet one day in person at least.
Stop. Now you will. I'll probably be out of here. I'll be on to my own adventure.
But here, Kristina, I'll leave you. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you soon. All the best.